Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. Your mic isn't working. Your mic isn't working. And just grab the other one. That one works.
What about this bad boy? Yeah. What's up, nerds? Thought you'd get rid of me, huh? By cutting my mic? I'll just grab another one. Welcome into the pre-show before the free show. Pickle and I have had a lovely, relaxing, work-free weekend. Correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's our lives.
That's our lives. Work-free. We're just sitting around, hanging out.
Ample time to, go to the
nothing.
grocery store, laundry, or anything like that. Tons of time.
Did I? Maybe I said this on this show, and maybe not. So stop me if I have. Did I tell you that we're grocery delivery people now?
Mm-hmm. You got Walmart Plus.
I did.
Because Powers told us he accidentally has Walmart Plus.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it came, like the groceries came yesterday, and it was like, man, we're living in the future. I want to ask you, Ashley, about your Friday night experience. You got to...
Which part of the 17-hour extravaganza would you like to hear about?
But what I'm really
part.
intrigued by is the front-facing part. Is you made your... you've been, obviously, when you were you were on location, you were on scoreboard.
Right.
But as far as being a co-host of High School Scoreboard Live, you made your debut on Friday night.
I did.
What'd you think?
It was a blast. I really did. I enjoyed it. I needed that. It was fun to be reminded that football is fun. And that we like football. But no, it was a lot of fun. I really genuinely enjoyed it. It's very, very different from Football Friday. Not in a bad way, and I don't think necessarily in a great way either. They're just very fundamentally different shows. On Football Friday, you fundamentally have 6 games that you're really, really honed in on. So you have to know, that's 12 teams that you need to know every single aspect of their game. You need to be able to talk about their offensive line because sometimes you can't get a reporter on and you have to figure out how to do that. So that's very challenging in and of itself. On scoreboard, it's the exact opposite. It's it doesn't feel like you have to know as much about the teams, but you have to know a little bit about everything because you're moving so fast.
I mentioned, I've said this before, but a lot of my job is, if you were to just boil it down, a lot of my job is knowing 1 or 2 things about every team. I don't need to be in depth on everyone,
right?
But I do need to know that
which I think is
who the coach at Clyde is.
Yeah.
Know?
And I think that they each pose a different difficulty because I feel like Football Friday, especially because you're on for the first 2 hours, so you get to kind of set everything up, and then you'll come back, obviously, at the end, so you know this better than anyone, and you did it forever. But Football Friday is very challenging in the fact that if one of those games ends 63-0, it ends 63-0. You have to fill time.
You have to be willing to. We've allotted 6 minutes for it.
Yeah.
And it's we just get to talk about a 63-0 blowout.
Yeah, so that's a difficult thing to do. It's easy to talk about a game that ended in a Hail Mary. It's
tough
easy
to talk about a turn.
That. Yeah, it is. So scoreboard is easier in that way of you don't have to allot 6 minutes, but scoreboard is more difficult in you've got to be going the entire time. You can't let your brain go to sleep or you're going to miss 17 things rather than just one thing.
The word I would use to describe scoreboard is frantic.
Yes.
But not out of control. There were times, we'll just fully pull back the curtain. There were times whenever it was the hour show. Remember, scoreboard used to be 1 hour and it only used to be Rick Renner and Craig Way. And I would fill in for Craig whenever he had a Texas thing, which happens 3-4 times a year, right? Twice a year. I would fill in, and let me tell you, that show, because they are cramming highlights.
Yeah,
you're getting
for an hour.
You're getting 48 highlights in a 60-minute show. Plus, at that point, we had the big package from Neil Beasley, and we had reporter wraps and stuff like that. It was chaos. And now with the 2-hour, it is still like
it's still fast paced.
It's still fast, but it's manageable.
Yes.
Like that's what I've noticed with it.
Yeah, for me it took me I would say about a segment and a half to just get down the rhythm that I needed to. And it wasn't even the rhythm. It was just looking at that rundown compared to a Football Friday rundown are two very different things. So trying to like look at this massive thing and decipher exactly what all of it meant. But once I got I think it only took about a segment and a half. Once I finally got it, then it was like,
that's how it always is.
Go. You're good.
First segment, you're like, oh my God. And then like afterwards, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought you did great though.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. I really did genuinely enjoy it. So that was a good time.
Hit the theme, Expo. Pickle! Hit the arrow sign. Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a program that has caught its breath. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live on TexasFootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, on any other of your favorite platforms by which you consume video content, or the source of the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part. Support your local mediocre internet show. I have a chair over here at this table, sitting over there at a desk with a computer sitting in front of her. She's the Duchess of the Dorks. She's our executive producer. She's Ashley Pickle.
Hi, friends. Happy Monday.
Happy
area round.
Happy gloomy Monday.
Yeah, it's kind of grody outside.
Grody.
Look outside and tell me you would not describe that as grody.
Well, okay. It's also not 1996.
It is grody.
Today is Monday, as the nice lady said. November 14th, 2022. I don't want to sound alarms, but it's 10 days to Thanksgiving. Okay? It's 10 days to Thanksgiving. Go to the store today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I'm not trying to be an alarmist. Go to the store today. Happy birthday to who's born today? You got any people who are born today?
No.
None of your friends are born today?
I don't think so.
Not Chopper, Andy, or
yeah, I missed Chopper Andy's birthday the other day.
Let's see.
Goof
Born
and
today.
Steph have the same birthday.
Happy birthday to King Charles. King Charles. You know, like new king.
Yeah. He's taken over.
Yeah, he's 74.
And he looks
imagine
like he's
getting a job.
175.
Imagine getting a job promotion at 73.
And he really looks
and
like
be
he's
like
150.
Like you've been waiting for like 40, 50 years for the job promotion, and then it comes along when you're 73. Anyway, happy birthday, King Charles. Episode 1497 on today's show, folks. Big show. We got Monday Morning Fallout. We're going to overreact to football weekend. Then we're going to be joined by the head coach of the Irion County Hornets. Coach Don Kofel is going to join us. Irion County beat May. Mm-hmm. Knocking out the two-time, it's hard to say like two-time reigning
runner-up.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But like, I'm trying to think of that. But a team that has made the title game the last 2 years, May, knocked them out in a wild one for their first playoff win since 1971.
That's crazy.
So we'll talk with Coach Don Kofel coming up here in a little bit, and then we will roll out the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week nominees and some other gizmos and gadgets between there. One thing I want to bring up, and normally I would do this on the pre-show, but I want to make sure that this makes the podcast. There was really terrible news to come out of the Texas high school football world this weekend. Speaking of six-man football, Anton head coach Matthew Hoover passed away suddenly this weekend. He was only 38 years old. He is known around the six-man community as just being a real prince and a guy who was super well respected. He had Anton, and from a football sense, which is obviously not important right now, but from a football sense, he had Anton really trending in the right direction, and things were like moving in the right direction. And he is known as just a guy that nobody had any ill word to
No,
say about.
Never.
And he's, as I mentioned, he's 38. He leaves behind a wife and 4 daughters. Just gut-wrenching stuff. They have set up a GoFundMe for his family. I tweeted out the link. I know that it's like holiday season and like purse strings are tight and wallets are constricted a bit. But if you've got the means to throw a couple bucks in the bucket, like for that family, that would really, really mean a lot, I know. So we're certainly thinking about the Hoover family and the entire 6-man football community, because that's a tough.
When I saw your tweet, I was like, oh man,
that's terrible.
You never want to hear that from anyone, but
Yeah.
man, when it's one of the good guys like that, it's really hard to stomach.
I know. Let me do a hard divide here.
Yes.
Hard divide. Do we have first 4 through the door?
We sure do.
Sorry.
It was, let's see, Nick Morton, Christo Fire 100, Rob Hadaway, and Coach Terry Crawford on to round 2. Congratulations to Abbott.
Big game for them this week. Pickle! Hit the air raid time. It's time for Monday Morning Fallout. Monday Morning Fallout, of course, when we overreact to the football weekend. A lot to overreact to.
A fun round.
Hold on, I'm going to tweet out that we're talking 6-man football. Because we are. Because we got Don Kofel coming up. A lot to overreact to from the first round of the playoffs. Start my 3 big thoughts. Thought number 1, a standard level of chaos. So, last year, I feel like we were sitting here doing this very segment. Talking about what a wild by-district round of the playoffs it was.
Yeah, there were some big old landmines.
On and on about, man, everywhere you looked, it was just chaotic. As I sat and on Friday and I kind of overlooked the Texas high school football landscape, my overall thought was like, yeah, that's about normal. Now, that's not to say that it was predictable, okay? Because I think you had a fair amount of maybe not stunners, but at the very least, you had a fair amount of games that were really surprising. I believe we ended up having 12 4 seeds beat 1 seeds. So those, like by themselves, district champions losing the first round of the playoffs. You had stunners that I would consider. Spearman beat Abernathy in the first round of the playoffs. That's a stunner.
Yep.
Right? Wallace Brazos beat Lexington.
Yep.
That's a stunner. That's a team that Matt Stepp picked to win the region.
Big Spring beating El Paso Riverside.
Big Spring over El Paso Riverside, right? You had those. You also, and I think this is important to characterize this as well, you also had a good number of near misses. Okay? There were a number of contenders that were in dogfights that pulled it out. South Oak Cliff against Mansfield Summit.
God, yeah, what was that, 10-7?
Finished 12-7, yeah.
12-7.
And they were down. They were down at halftime. That was on our radar and sirens going off. Cuero needed overtime to beat Salado. Shout out to the Eagles of Salado who gave them everything they wanted. Cuero survives and advances, right? They don't ask you how, they ask you how many, especially this time of year. Highland Park was knotted up 28-all at halftime of their game against Richardson Berkner, maybe?
I think, yes. Which now they have Geyer on the agenda.
You had a fair number of not only the upsets, but also the what could have been.
The other side of the chaos that I really like that I think differs from last year is if you have been locked into Texas high school football, some of the brand names like Allen and Denton Ryan going down might not have been the most surprising thing. But if you haven't been locked in and you're used to those, like I had a friend of mine who follows but not very heavy. And
we had a lot of casuals checking in.
Oh my God, Denton Ryan lost. What happened? And I was like, I would be lying to you if I said that wasn't the most surprising thing in the world. Like,
yeah, I think I picked Ryan, but
yeah, I felt like it was a coin flip
game.
But when you come in and you see the brand names like Allen and Denton Ryan, everyone's like, oh my God.
I tweeted this, but Allen, Denton Ryan, and Euless Trinity all do not win a playoff game. First time that's happened since 1999 that all of them didn't win a playoff game. Yeah, that's an interesting thing is that like there were a fair number of blue bloods that bit the dust.
Yep.
Right. We also did have a defending state champ go down, although I would not categorize it as an upset with Lorena losing to Columbus. I would say that is about right. The close game. Columbus wins.
Yeah, Lorena's very young, but they still had a good team.
Yeah, exactly. But we did lose another state champion. But the rest of the state, I thought, was overall relatively chalky. So that's why I would categorize the first round of the playoffs as a standard level of chaos. Thought number 2, Lone Star Bell Curve. I don't know why this caught my eye yesterday, but I was looking through, and I was just looking through the standings of college football, because I know how to party. Looking through the standings. I'm not talking about rankings. I'm talking about like the actual conference standings. And something struck me. So there are 12 FBS teams in the state of Texas, soon to be 13.
Fact.
Of those 12, 8 of them are between 4-6 and 6-4.
Jeez.
8 of them. And what's so interesting, here's the thing. You've got, I think this is a perfect encapsulation of what we've seen in Texas college football this year. It's a perfect bell curve. Okay? You have 2 teams that I think everyone would categorize as pretty good. We can talk about whether they're elite or not, but they're pretty good. They have a great chance to win their conference. TCU and UTSA. Right? Pretty good. You also have 2 teams that I think people would categorize as having a rough one. A&M and Texas State. Right? You have these two like tails. And then you have the 8 teams up here right in the big middle. And what does that say about the state of college football in the state of in Texas? I think that there's a lot of cannibalism going on, right? TCU beats Texas, so that drops Texas out of into the 6-4 range, right?
Right.
So there certainly that matters. But I think what that really tells us is that this is more or less the way that college football in the state of Texas on an average year is going to look. Now, hopefully there will be some with realignment, there will be some movement that will have maybe 3 teams up near the top or 4 teams up near the top.
Well, yeah, because at that point you're adding more conferences.
And they are in different conferences, right? There's no reason it has to be this way. But I do think that this is kind of a standard way. We've had years where there's just a lot of bad football. Maybe there's only one great team. We've had a couple of years where we've had 3 or 4 contenders.
Right.
But this is right now in college football, 10 weeks in, I think it's fair to say that we just have a perfect bell curve as far as college football is concerned.
Yeah, that feels right. I was going to say, that we're adding a conference, but I guess we're really not because A&M is already in the SEC, so those 2 are just moving over, but it'll
still be the same
Conference
number
USA,
of conferences. Still be the same number of conferences, 5 conferences. It'll be SEC, Big 12, AAC, Conference USA, and Sun Belt. Yeah. But we're going to shift some things around. And thought number 3, wheat and chaff. There are some complainers out there who like to, every year, they come out of the woodwork and talk about how too many teams make the playoffs. Every year, it's the same tweets from the same people. And it's just, I've just muted them all on Twitter. But now, if you are not ready to lock in on high school football, then you just probably were never ready to lock in on high school football because we're down to, I would say that we have eliminated almost all of the chaff. Now, do I think that every team left can win a state championship? No, I do not. But as far as those teams that people like to complain make the playoffs, almost all of them are gone, and the ones that are left beat a good team in round 1. So we have separated the so-called wheat from the so-called chaff.
Well, and I always think, like, I I almost responded to someone on Twitter the other day, and I was like, it's not worth it. But the biggest one...
Hard correct.
It's just not worth it. But, like, the biggest example that I can give is we've talked so much about District 10 5A Division 1, where Richmond Foster was like a 7-4 team, and they missed the playoffs. Like, for every bad district, there's a district like that where someone's getting left out with a really good record. Also, anyone who complains about more football just does not compute in my brain.
Not friends. I mean, we did have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
you said we had
6,
12
7, 8,
4
9,
seeds
10,
beat
11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
one
16, 17,
seeds.
18, 19. We had 19 districts that swept through the first round of the playoffs. 10 5A Division 1 is a perfect example of that, which means you had 4 seeds that won playoff games.
Yep.
Now, there's 5, 6-man, or there's a couple, 6-man districts, there's not all.
Right.
All that's to say, whatever you're complaining, that complaining time's over. Because now we're into the nitty-gritty. Those are 3 big thoughts. 3 helmet stickers. A helmet sticker to Louisville quarterback Ethan Terrell, who was excellent in their win over Allen. 54 yards and a touchdown passing, 164 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. They did not have an answer for him. And the Fighting Farmers defend home field there at Max Goldsmith Stadium.
Let's go.
A helmet sticker to UTSA running back Kavorian Barnes. This kid has really emerged as a real game changer, and I think in many respects the lead back for this UTSA team. He ran 11 times for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns in their big win, their romp over Louisiana Tech. Kavorian Barnes doing work, the pride of St. Augustine, Texas. And a helmet sticker to Clarendon running back Jamari Davis. I tweeted this last night. But I think it's interesting that Clarendon has just decided to make the plane out of Jamari Davis in the playoffs. The Texas Tech commit ran 15 times for 275 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. 3 teams to watch. Big Spring. A perfect example of a 4 over a 1. And a team that I think is peaking at the right time, playing really good football, and came up with an incredible play. Cannon McWilliams, their coach, first of all name team. But Cannon McWilliams tweeted what was the game-winning touchdown. Go find it on Twitter. I'll try to retweet it. An incredible individual effort to pull off the stunning win. But keep it on Big Spring. They're a team to keep to watch. I cheated here. Yeah. Mary Hardin Baylor, Trinity, and Hardin Simmons. If you were sleeping this weekend, which, hey, respect, the Division III NCAA bracket came out. And the state of Texas has, for the first time since 2011, 3 teams in the NCAA Division III bracket. Mary Hardin Baylor, Trinity, and Hardin Simmons. Mary Hardin Baylor won the ASC, so they got an automatic bid. They host Huntington at noon on Saturday. Then Trinity repeated as champions of the SAA, and they will go and, believe it or not, they get to host Hardin Simmons. So we'll get Hardin Simmons and Trinity in the first round of the playoffs, which will be a lot of fun.
How cool is that?
And finally, Lake Travis. So this was the big game on Valley Sports Southwest.
Yeah, they figured it out.
I talked a lot about this on the show, but I want to reiterate. There's going to be a lot of talk about who wasn't playing in this game, because Mason Cochran, the quarterback for Round Rock, did not play, or at least they tried to play him, and he was. I was watching on a television screen. He was visibly struggling, visibly hurt. So they were turning to a backup quarterback. But I thought Lake Travis really took it to him, and I thought it was a coaching masterclass from Hank Carter in the second half. They started grinding it out on the ground. Their quarterback, Caden Leone, stepped up in a big way. Sam Self's a big target on the outside, and their defense locked them down. And Lake Travis, they go into Cibolo Steel this week, and it's going to be a tough game, but Lake Travis has got to be brimming with confidence at the moment. 3 to see. South Oak Cliff and Lovejoy. Anxiety Bowl.
Live on Texan Live.
Is that right?
Sneak peek for you.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
We grabbed that
Saturday.
Saturday. 3 o'clock.
Anxiety Bowl. I'll talk about it on the picks this week. Anxiety Bowl for both these teams. TCU and Baylor. I think this is TCU's last real hurdle. I want to say they close against Iowa State. This is their last real hurdle. And if they go and they beat Baylor on the road against a team that would love nothing more than to ruin their season.
That's a good rivalry.
So we'll find out. And then how about this? Anna and Stephenville.
Live on Texan Live.
Oh, really? I have not seen the Texan
I'm
Live
putting in
schedule.
work this week, boy.
Anna and Stephenville on Texan Live. That game is going to be certified. It's going to be really good. Two big offenses. Who comes up with stops? It'll be a lot of fun. That's 3 to see. That's Monday Morning Fallout. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Pickle. Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to team up this year with Ozarka to honor excellence in high school football, selecting one school in each classification with the Ozarka Fueled by Nature Team of the Week Award. Each team selected throughout the course of this program have exemplified the best in Texas high school football. Your Week 12 by-district playoffs, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Ozarka Fueled by Nature Teams of the Week. In 6A, Sheldon C.E. King, quit laughing at me. Sheldon C.E. King, despite finishing fourth in a rough and tumble District 21 6A, the Panthers were ready for the playoffs, exploding past District 26A champion Channelview with a resounding 70-14 win. In 5A, Victoria West, just days after the death of senior offensive lineman Diego Martin, the Warriors would not be denied as Camden Repper hit Zachary Sanchez for a game-winning 15-yard touchdown pass with 48 seconds left to top San Antonio Southwest 21-16. In 4A, Gerald, the Cougars sprung one of the biggest upsets of the first round of the playoffs, cruising past district champ Devine 31-14 to earn their first playoff win since 2015. In 3A, Spearman, the Lynx blitz district champion Abernathy using a terrific defensive effort to upset the Antelopes 21-7. In 2A, Hamilton, the Bulldogs in their first playoff win since 2011 with a 41-15 upset win over district champion Tioga. In 1A, Irion County about to talk with their coach. The Hornets took down two-time defending state finalist May in a 104-91 thriller, earning the program's first playoff win since 1971. And in the private school ranks, Hazlitt Heritage Christian. The Lions surged past Mineral Wells Community 69-24 to clinch a spot in the TCAF state championship game for a fourth time in 5 seasons. So those are your Week 12 Ozarka Fueled by Nature Teams of the Week. Congratulations to all the schools. We salute you. For more information, visit TexasFootball.com. Now a word from our friends at VCR Now.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
Pickle, let's go to the hotline. We have a hard and fast rule around here that if you win your first playoff game in more than 50 years, we just bring you on the program. That's why we're pleased to be joined with the head coach of the Irion County Hornets. Coach Don Kofel joins us. Coach, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
How are things in beautiful Mertzen, Texas?
Pretty bright right now.
Okay. Well, no complaints.
Yes, sir.
You guys did something that hasn't been done in a couple years, which is to beat May in anything other than a state championship game. And I'm interested, going into your contest with May, what your message to your guys was before you guys went out there and locked horns with them.
Message was to battle.
Mm-hmm.
We were in for a dogfight. We knew we were. That coaching staff over there at May is top notch, no question. Coach Steele's been around a long time. We knew he's going to be ready for everything we had, and we knew as a coaching staff we had to work pretty hard to even come close to matching up with them. And then athletically, May is just top tier team. Obviously, been to the state championship the last 2 years, and we knew it was a tall mountain to climb. But we felt like it was our turn. They beat us the last 2 years in the first round, and we just felt like we had a better chance this year than we had in the past.
Well, and you guys, you mention that they've beaten you the past couple of times. There's also the whole thing of it's been since 1971 that Irion County's won a playoff game. Was that history, both the recent history against May and just the overall history of the program, was that a topic of conversation, or was it one foot in front of the other, we're just playing a football game?
Both, honestly. I mean, yes, of course, it couldn't not be a topic of conversation because if you haven't won a playoff game in 51 years and you got a shot to do it, man, it's obviously a topic in the locker room, in the community especially, not necessarily in their locker room as much, but in the community especially, so it can't help but leak into the locker room. But honestly, it was a football game, and it's a chance to advance and move on. And we have 7 seniors on this team, and their leadership was key and vital and amazing. And the energy in practice was obviously big. We were just really looking forward to getting that chance back at May. And, we kind of looked forward to that from day one, that chance to play May again. So, yeah, the 51 years, absolutely, make history. That was part of the motivation. But, just to keep going and get past that first round was huge for us.
Talking with Don Kofel, the head coach at Irion County here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. Coach, this was an opportunity, whenever I talk with folks about six-man football who are maybe not familiar with it, I think they think of it as like basketball on turf, back and forth, scoring here and there and stuff like that. And I told them, hey, there's actually great defense played in a lot of these games. 104-91, you guys are not really helping my cause in talking people into the defensive side of this. Was this the kind of game you anticipated with the Tigers?
To be honest with you, yes. I think both the coaching staffs anticipated it because we felt like we were both pretty effective offensively and knew it was going to be a struggle to stop the other one with the athletes on the other side. And a lot of friends, a lot of old coaches, harassing me a little bit. Wow, you left the defense at home. Honestly, man, we didn't. May is just that good. And I'm telling you, we did everything we could do to stop them. And we got 3 takeaways in that game, 2 pick sixes and a strip score that was called back on a block in the back. But, and we had 3 kids in double digits in tackles. I mean, it was just a war.
One of the guys, I believe, who had those 2 pick sixes, you're probably being a little too modest, is a gentleman by the name of Don Kofel. He had himself quite a ball game in the big win with 193 yards, 4 touchdowns passing, 22 tackles, and 2 pick sixes. I'm always interested in the dynamic there, where Trevin's out there. How has this year been for? He's of course been a basketball standout, been a football standout for a number of years. How has this year been for you and for him, and how satisfying was it to experience this particular win with him?
Absolute blessing. Mm-hmm. It's an absolute blessing to coach my son. I'm obviously a proud coach, but more so a proud father, because of what he's accomplished, not just in the stats, but as a leader as well. And that extends past my son in this senior class especially, and then some younger kids that have done well. But yeah, an absolute blessing. It's he's such a coachable young man, and just as well as all these boys are, we wouldn't be in the position we're in. And but yeah, I just can't get any other words out of my mouth other than a blessing to get to coach my son.
The other thing, obviously, you guys, this has just been a history-making year for you guys. You guys got your first district championship since 2004 this year, as well as you guys are now 10-0 on the season. You've been here. Irion County's had a unique history. They played a long time at 11-man before back in 2019. They move up to the 6-man world and back to the 6-man world, I should say. And you come over and take over the job. We've heard so many from people about why you're such a good fit for this program. I'm interested in kind of the reverse of that question. Why is Irion County the right place for you?
I spent 24 years in Iredell, Texas, and I love that place. It's a wonderful place. And, you know, I had no intentions of leaving. The superintendent here at the time, Brian Gray, called me up. He was a soup for me back in 06, 07 in Iredell. And he asked me to come out, and I told him no, and here I am. So
Yeah.
it's a longer story than that, but I mean, that's basically the gist of it. And he asked me to come out and visit. If it's not for me, no hard feelings. Well, I come out and visit and just fell in love. And it was just it was another version of where I was, just bigger, better opportunities for my son. It was not West Texas what I pictured West Texas to be. Dust and tumbleweed, and it's beautiful here in Mertzen, and just community is wonderful, admins, just facilities, just everything. It was just it was a great thing, great move for my son academically, as well as athletically. And it was a no-brainer when I came and visited, and through a lot of prayer, because I came out kicking and screaming, but I knew it was where I was supposed to be.
One last question for Don Kofel, the head coach of the Irion County Hornets here. Coach, it's on to the next one, on to the area round, and a chance to make even more history. And 6 o'clock Thursday in Sonora. You guys will take on a team that you're pretty familiar with. The Lakey Eagles are here. You, of course, played them back in Week 6 and came away with a 61-6 victory. I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth. I think they're better than their record shows that they are.
Yes, sir.
I'm interested how, what you're going to be up against on Thursday, a team you have already beaten, but is certainly playing their best football right now.
Absolutely. And for them that Leverett Chapel team, I thought was the real deal, and they found a way to beat them. So obviously they have really found their rhythm. And with a veteran coach and Coach Nichols, I believe they're going to come out ready to play and really look to flip the script on us. I think the keys to victory for us is stay focused, stay locked in, and stay clean and get after them like we did May.
He's Don Kofel. He's the head coach of the 10-0 Irion County Hornets, bound for the area round, playoff winners for the first time since 1971. Coach, we sure appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the big win, and go get Lakey on Thursday.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. There you go. Don Kofel, head coach of the Irion County Hornets. Super cool story.
That's awesome.
Super duper cool story. Actually, I believe our friend Amy McDaniel, she DM'd me about this. I want to say she's from Irion County.
Yeah, she graduated from it. We had Amy on.
She's an Irion County grad.
We had Amy on WTF, and so she was telling us about that.
The Irion County.
Because she was there when they were still.
The stadium's named after her dad. Yeah, so...
she was there when they were still a 2A program.
Small world. Yeah, 71, because I should say they played 11-man football. Let me pull this up. I want to make sure I get this right, because it is worth getting right. I mean, everything's worth getting right.
Well, because it was funny, because we were asking her, she's out there in kind of that Concho Valley area. What's it like? What was 6-man football like for you? And we knew that she had graduated from Irion County, and so we were asking her about that. She's like, well, back in my day, it was we're playing 11-man ball.
1976, they moved from 6-man to 11-man, and then they played 11-man through 2018. Then they went to the 6-man world again, and so it's been kind of back and forth. Don Kofel's a really I didn't want to pry too much, but he was there at Iredell. He's the head coach at Iredell, and then he kind of stepped down or stepped aside and let Luis Casera take over, and he was like, "This is the guy. I want him to be the head coach." And so, like when I think he's pretty. I think what I'm certainly not accusing him of lying, because I think what he everyone kind of figured, all right, he's going to be at Iredell. He's going to be like an assistant coach, and I think he might have been AD there at Iredell. But he's obviously got something cooking out there at Irion County. And Trevin is, if you don't know, his son, Trevin, is not only their best football player, but he's their best basketball player. He is a super duper star. And it's going to be...
you would never know that from talking to his dad, Well, you would know that kid was good, but he might not throw the last name out there.
Yeah, Trevin, he's good.
He's good.
Yeah, he's a good playmaker. Anyway, we appreciate Don Kofel hopping on with us. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Pickle, one last thing to do. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the leading publication for all things football in the state of Texas, and the Tax Act Texas Bowl are proud to present the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week to the most deserving high schooler in the state of Texas. Each week, the Dave Campbell's Texas football staff nominates 10 deserving candidates for that week's award. Based on the previous week's on-field performance, we then leave it to you to vote at texasfootball.com. Voting closes each Friday at noon, with the winner being announced shortly thereafter. Your Week 12, this is going to get tough. Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week nominees. Comanche quarterback Layden Welch went 11 for 16, 248 yards, 5 touchdowns through the air, 65 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing. Corpus Christi Miller, wide receiver and defensive back Lonnie Atkinson, 7 catches, 190 yards, 4 touchdowns receiving. He had 10 tackles and an interception as well. Flatonia quarterback Fidel Venegas, 20 of 28, 311 yards, 6 touchdowns passing, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Caddo Mills quarterback Alfonso Gonzalez threw for 125 yards and a touchdown and ran for 160 yards and 5 more scores. Byron Nelson quarterback Jake Wilson, 407 yards and 6 touchdowns passing for the head Bobcat. El Paso Eastwood quarterback Evan Minares, 224 yards and 6 touchdowns passing, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing. Light work. Waco University wide receiver and safety Najee Drakes, 4 catches, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns receiving. He had 38 yards rushing. He had 5 tackles and 2 interceptions. Do work.
My goodness.
Los Fresnos cornerback Joshua Munoz, 3 tackles, 3 picks, 2 blocked field goals. Sunray quarterback Armando Luan. This was the game Step was at, I think, on Friday night? Thursday night? One of the nights. And he was like, dude, this kid's going off. 35 for 46, 504 yards, 4 touchdowns passing, 41 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground.
I think that was his Thursday game because he was in Hereford on Friday.
That's right. And finally, center running back Caden Dixon, 29 carries, 409 yards, and 6 touchdowns on the ground. So those are your Week 12 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week nominees. Vote early, vote often, vote now on TexasFootball.com. Now it's time for final thoughts with Ashley Pickle, and I guess we should probably issue some programming notes this week.
Yeah, we're not going to have WTF this week. That'll be everything else is
Why?
going to. I will be out of town. Everything
Where are you going?
else is going to be normal.
Where are you going?
I'm going to New York.
Why are you going to New York, Pickle?
Because I have to attend an event.
What event is it, Pickle?
My presence has been requested at.
For what?
Sports Business Journal is throwing their award celebration for their national 30 under 30 list called New Voices Under 30. So I have to be there for that.
Yeah, but why do you have to be there, Pickle?
Because I was named to the New Voices Under 30 list.
Whoa!
So, yeah, I've got to do that. But don't worry, everyone is being left in great hands.
No.
Be here taking care of the ship.
No, that's fine. You're right. Mallory's, we're still going to have TFT every day, stuff like that. Mallory's going to take care of it. But let's dwell on this a little bit more.
That we're not going to have WTF. But don't worry, we will have WTF next week.
New Voices Under 30. Have they checked your ID?
Yeah. I am, in fact, under 30.
So you're in the Sports Business Journal?
Mm-hmm.
And you get to go to a gala in New York?
I do.
To get an award?
Yes.
And wear a dress and stuff? I don't know about the dress. I was guessing on that.
No, yeah, I do have to wear a dress.
Yeah,
it's a formal event. So.
Well, that's very exciting. We're all very proud of you.
Thanks.
And we'll try to keep the trains on time. But with me and Mallory, it's just gonna go off the rails.
Mallory will have everything under control. I need to have that in my brain. Or I'm struggling hard enough.
No. To be clear,
Mallory will be great.
I want to be very clear.
I get concerned that you're gonna run her wild.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Mallory will be perfectly fine.
She gets around me. I really am. You remember growing up, there was always one kid your mom didn't want you hanging around.
Yeah.
He's a bad influence.
Yeah.
I don't want you hanging around with him.
I feel bad because Mallory not only has to do all of her job and she's taking over all of my job, she is also having to try and keep you to behave, and that's the difficult task. She'll crush my job, but you are the difficulty.
But that is part of your job.
Exactly, and I just feel bad because I know how hard that is.
Anyway, we're very proud of you, Pickle.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Irion County head coach Don Kofel for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow with Mallory Hartley and I on Texas Football Today.